hub application. With a hub application from Esri, it's geared around what they call an initiative, and the initiative is the pollinator habitats here. It's one kind of central hub where you can go for the data, but also where have access to forms that you will be able to add information to the actual map. So you'll be actually live putting that information into the system through various forms. The forms we have are what is called Survey 123. It's kind of like a Survey Monkey, but has a spatial component to it where you can actually map, and as you're filling the form out, that attribute information is being added to the map itself. So what we do is going to kind of go through, explain the hub site, and go through the maps that are within the hub site, but then also the forms that are available. After this, if you have any questions, let us know as you get into it. And if you have any questions or think something that would be beneficial to add to it, either functionality wise or even data wise that you think you want to share, let us know. And I'm going to turn it over to Tamara, and she's going to walk you through.
Good morning, everyone. I just shared my screen. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Do you see my screen? I just shared the hub site. Okay, perfect. Okay, so again, good morning. My name is Tamara Farhat, and I am a senior GIS analyst at DuPage County. I am here today to present a live demonstration of our new hub site that's dedicated for mapping the DuPage County habitat. Additionally, I will be showcasing a live demonstration of our pollinator site mapping survey. So this is our hub site that we created for this project. And before I start, I just want to give you an introduction of what is a hub site. A hub site is an ESRI cloud-based engagement platform. It enables organizations to communicate more effectively with their communities. Why we created this hub site? We created it because we wanted to organize and share resources and information with you. And we also wanted to collaborate with you and the public about the mapping and expanding the DuPage County local habitat species. I'll walk you through the hub first. So this is the hub site. We have 3 pages for this hub site. The first page is mapping DuPage habitat. So the first page is the main page. It is structured into multiple sections. Each is serving a distinct purpose. And these sections will provide you a comprehensive information, interactive features to resources to support the mapping. And I will go over this page in a minute. The second page is a private page. It's called Conservation Projects. And please let me know if you see it, because Zoom sometimes stick into the first page that you share. Lonnie, do you see the second page?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, so the second page is a private page. That means you need a login. We will provide you with a username and a password if you request to access this page. But this is an advanced feature that we will provide for members who already submitted their project and they wish to edit these projects. We want to ensure a secure access, so members will receive a login and a password, granting them the entry to the app, which is this app, and then they will update the projects that they already submitted. If I sign out outside the hub, this page, the public can't see this page. You can't see this page unless you sign in, unless you are provided with a username and a password. The last page is the resources page. The resources page directs you, goes directly to the DuPage Monarchs project resources page. It is offering valuable information about volunteer opportunities, educational and engaging materials. I'll go back to our hub site, and then I'll go over the sections for the main page. So the first section here is statistics. We are showcasing statistics related to this project. We have the statistic and their source. The first statistic we have is the conservation sites. This is the number of sites submitted by members. So this is anything that you submit will be added to these statistics. And these are both signatory and associate members. The site registered, we have 789 sites that are registered with the Chicago Living Corridors. And these are private landowners who have created a habitat in their front or backyards, and they registered them with the Chicago Living Corridors. The third statistic is the potential sites, and this is by DuPage County GIS. These are the sites that the county GIS mapped. These are either an actual site or a potential site for the DuPage County habitat. The Monarchs Way Station, this is something coming soon. We haven't configured this yet. It's still in progress. Next, we are sharing our primary mission with you, which is to locate, map, and expand the existing local habitat spaces in DuPage County. In the next section, you will find the DuPage Pollinator Native Habitat application. In this application, we share valuable resources with you to assist with the habitat space mapping, and I'll show you a detailed overview of this app. So basically, this app contains 4 data sets. The first data set is the DuPage pollinator native habitat potential sites. This is, if you remember from the statistics, this is what the DuPage County GIS has mapped so far. We have about 1,800 sites. You can view these sites, change visibilities of the layer. I'll hide these so you can see. So basically, these are commons, right-of-way, marsh areas, riversides, anything that we know it is a habitat site or it could be a potential site. The second data set is the members conservation sites. This is empty so far. It has one test data, but this is what you will be submitting. Anything that you submit through the survey will show up on this map. The only thing I want you to know is there is a verification process because the survey is public. The sites that you submit does not appear directly on the map. We have a script in the background that emails us that you submitted something. We'll go ahead and verify the sites, and then it will show up on this map. The reason why we did this, it's because the survey is public uh, it's easier for everyone to access it when it's public, but at the same time, we want to verify that these submissions are legit. The third data set is the Chicago Living Corridor. This is private landowners who has created native habitat in their property, and they registered them with the Chicago Living Corridors. These are the points in blue and red and green. If you click on one of these points, it will show you some information. For example, which organization this project was submitted to, the date of registration, and the city. The last data set in this application is the DuPage open spaces. And I forgot to mention that you can open this application in full extent. This is the link. So if you click, you should be able to see it in full extent. And then for the open spaces dataset, we have basins that contains native plants. We have rivers and streams. We have lakes and ponds. And this is very helpful when it comes to the habitat mapping. And then we have the DuPage County local parks and DuPage protected land. In this application, as you can see, you can change the visibility of these layers by clicking the eye over here. You can zoom in into a specific area. You can, if you're interested in a specific area, you can change the base map. Here's how you change the base map. Let's do imagery. And you can also search an address if you are interested in a specific area. All you need to do is type in the address and the map will take you to that specific area, and you can find out if there's, a potential site, if there's a registered site with the, or if there's a member conservation site in the area.
Excuse me, Tamara,
Yes.
for the solid fills, can you make them transparent, give them a transparency so you can see what's under them?
Yes. I'll have to access the web map though. Maybe not. No, not. Yeah. Thank you, Mary. Yeah. Is this better?
You're welcome. I was wondering if the users would be able to do that themselves or if they
Yeah,
would be able
you
to just, or
can.
if they would have to turn off the potential sites to actually see the ground underneath it.
Yeah. So basically, if you click the three dots over here, you can zoom into the layer, the whole layer, and then you can change the transparency. You click transparency. This is zero transparency. And then uh, I'll go back to the imagery because it's more clear. You can change the transparency of this layer, and you can set a filter based on the fields that are in the data set. And then you can hide the legend by clicking the legend icon on the upper right corner. And the eye is to change the visibility. If I am interested only in seeing, for example, the Chicago Living Corridor data set, I turn that eye on and then it will show me all the points in DuPage County. And again, if you click on these points, you should be able to see more information if there is information related to this site. If you have questions about anything I go over, you can stop me anytime or you can type your question in the chat. I'm happy to answer questions as we go to not wait until the end. So we went over the app, and now next is the last section of our hub. And this is where you get involved in the DuPage County Habitat mapping. This is where we collaborate with you and other members and maybe the public to map your conservation projects. So basically, our goal was, okay, we're gonna identify these locations or potential locations, but we know that you have created many sites, and we want to create an inventory of everything that's in DuPage County. So in this section, we have a link to a survey, and that survey, I'll open the survey. I don't know why. Okay. So you have a link into a survey, and this survey has been designed to create as I said, a comprehensive inventory of the DuPage County habitat, and it will serve as a valuable resource for future conservation planning and decision making. Participants have the option to submit a project. So basically, you can add a new project. You can add a list of projects, and you have the option to only upload a document instead of mapping the project. Whether you choose to submit a new project or only upload a document as a shape file for your projects, you will be required to fill these fields here, which are your organization, your name, your email, your phone number. This is just in case we have questions about the projects you submitted, or uh, uh, if we want to get in touch with you, we can. Any questions that has a red star by it means that it is required. You cannot submit the survey if you don't fill these questions. So if I hit submit, it will tell you that there's an error. These questions are required. You have to submit these questions.
Can you clarify what you mean when, well, first of all, how do you know if we're a signatory or an associate member? Would be my
We,
first
yeah.
question.
So we have a question that asks you, and it's a required question. Oh, how do you know?
Yeah, yeah. How do we know what we are?
Oh, that's a question for Lonnie, I guess.
Okay. Just
Lonnie?
curious.
Yeah.
I was unmuting. Peggy, if you're a park district, which I know you are a signatory member. All
Okay.
park districts, all cities are signatories. So
Okay. That makes sense. And then my second question was, I'm not quite clear on if you scroll down, Tamara, a little bit about the what are you submitting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you clarify that?
Yeah. Of course. I'll go over this
Okay,
in
okay.
detail. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
No, no, no. No, you're fine. Okay. I just wanted to note that there is no advanced GIS knowledge is required to complete the survey. Only a basic understanding of your project itself that's needed. And then if you are planning to submit your project information, we will require you to include some information about this project. For example, we will need a project name, a unique project name for each project. And then there are some other questions that are not required, but you can fill them if you have the information, such as the project type, and then project site acre, uh, the date started, the date finished, and we also ask you to digitize your project area using a map and then add more description if you want to. So anything that doesn't have a red star here means that this is not required, but you can add this information. Now, the next step for me is I am planning to go over this survey in details. Let's say that I'm going to reload, so it will delete everything that if we have something, it will delete everything. And then we're going to submit an actual project to the survey so you can see how we can do that and then go over each questions that we have. So I found some projects and some actual projects, and I'm planning to submit them and map them. And this one of the projects is the Sugar Creek Restoration Project. So the first question is asking me, are you a signatory or associate member? So basically, this is for Elmhurst Park District, which is as Lonnie said, a signatory member. If you're not a member or you're not sure if you are a signatory or associate member, you can click not a member, and that will give you more information about who's a signatory member and who's an associate member by clicking the DuPage Monarchs website. And then from there, they have a list of all of their signatory and then associate members. So I'm going to do signatory member. And then once you select signatory member, another question will pop up, which is select your organization name. So this will list all of the DuPage Monarchs projects members. And we're looking for the Elmhurst Park District because the project is theirs. And then most of you will have this information saved somewhere, the name, the email address, the phone number. I'll do. Now, the next question, if you remember at the beginning of the overview, I said you can submit a project, but you also have the option to upload documents, only upload documents. Some of you have these projects already mapped. You have shape files, a bulk of sites, uh, and you don't want to submit, you don't want to be digitizing each project to the survey. So I'll go over how you upload a document next once we finish this demonstration. But I want you to know that you can either enter these projects into the survey or upload them as a shapefile into the survey. So in this case, we're submitting a new project. I don't have this project mapped. I want to map it into the survey. So I choose, I'm submitting a new project. As you can see here, once you select a new project, project information will pop up. We have questions about the project. We have this where you can add multiple projects. If you want to add 2 or 3 projects, you can do that, and then you select the first one, and then you start filling the information, and then select the second one, fill its information, third one, and so on and so forth. So right now, I'm just going to delete and the 3 that I added because I'm added only one project. For the project name, I'm going to be copying, pasting just for the sake of time. For the project name, this is called Sugar Creek Golf Course Restoration Project. Select project status. This is a new site. This is a new project and a new site. Now, what's the project type? So the project type is asking you what kind of work you have done in this project. Did you do a wetland, a stream bank stabilization, naturalized detention? So in this case, for this project, Elmhurst Park District did stream bank stabilization, and they did a wetland area too. So site acres, if you would like, you can submit the site acres. The reason why I have this question in, now if you digitize the site, it will capture the acres, but that's not necessarily accurate. So if you want to go ahead and enter, if you have this information, you can enter it. In this case, we have 3 acres for this site. This question, details, is asking me to provide any other details that I feel relevant to the project. I have this information, which is saying that we have 0.5 acres of wetland and then 2.5 acres seeded with native species. That's the details of the project. The project start date, I found that the funding for this project started in January 24, 2022. And then the project ended in 2024. So I'm going to assume it was January 24, 2022. Doesn't have to be the exact 2024. Now, in the next section, we ask you to digitize a polygon of your project area. We have this map. So the map, as you can see, is small and it's hard to see the details. We have in the lower left corner here, we have this icon that says larger map. So if I click that, this will make the map larger in my screen. And then I can zoom in and zoom out. I can go to the home page, which is the first exonet, and then I can find my own location, and I can change my base map if I would like. So if I do imagery, I can do imagery hybrid. And then the most important 2 buttons here are the find address and then area. So they find the address. That's how you find, if you know the location and you just want to zoom into the map, you can do that. But if you don't and you have the address for your project location, you can just type in the address here and you select from the list that. So this is our project location. Now I'm gonna start digitizing, and that's by selecting this area button right here. If you select, and once I select, do you see the orange point that pops? And then my cursor is changed into a plus. I zoom into the area and I'm using either my mouse wheel or the zoom in buttons right here. And then I'll start digitizing. How do you digitize? You digitize by tapping on the map. So, as I said, this project contained two aspects, stream bank stabilization and wetland area. So we're going to digitize the areas where they did stream bank stabilization, which is around this area, and this is the wetland area. So I click on the map, I added a vertex, and then I start adding more vertex by tapping on this map. Just like digitizing. And then this is, as I said, is the wetland area. This is all the stream bank stabilization areas. And then you double click once you want to finish your polygon. You double click on your left side of your mouse. This is not the best polygon, but so now I have the polygon. Maybe I don't like how it looks over here. So all I need to do is start moving, click, and then tap, and then start moving these vertex to adjust the shape. If you want to add more vertex, for example, I know that this area had some stream bank stabilization too, but I forgot to include it. So what I do is I go to these white points over here. I click the plus. When I say the plus, I click on the point, it will add more vertex. And I will use these vertex to add to the shape. And then I see that this area is not as it should. Change that. Now, if you noticed, this this captured the area. I said it's 3 acres. It did not catch all the 3 acres. That's why we sometimes ask you, because it's not 100% accurate. So that's why we ask you to enter the acre of the project if you have it. And if you have any documentations, any maps, anything, you can add that. If you want to go back, you can edit this too by clicking this pencil. So if I click this pencil, I can delete this polygon and start over. And then I can also go back. I can delete, I can start over, and I can undo or redo or reset. Now this area is done. How do I go back to the survey? The same button I used to make the map larger will make it smaller. So exit large map. I click that here on the left lower corner. That will take me back to the survey. We're asking questions about the location description. If you have this information, you can. I prefer to include the address of the project because I know it's in the map. I just, it's good to have the address. If you have any comments about the project, you can add those comments. So, for example, I have a comment here that's saying that this was funded by the DuPage County Water Quality Improvement Program and the Illinois EPA, along with the contribution of Sugar Creek Golf Course and the Village of Villa Park and Elmhurst Park Quarry. So I want to copy and paste this information here. And then this is asking you if there's any other conservation initiatives that was in this project, in this specific project. In this case, I have details about how many native plugs, how many native trees, and then how many native shrubs were planted. So I'll add this information into this details. And the last question is upload files or project images. If you have any document that's related that you want to show us about this project, if you have any image that you want to submit related to this project, you can. How do you do that? You can submit multiple too. So you can submit files and images. So you can select file, and then I remember that I have some documents. And then I have probably a PDF. I have a PDF that I can submit. And this PDF contains the plans for this project. And I click submit. If I filled all of the required fields, that will submit the project. If you refresh this hub site, as you can see, the number of conservation sites is now 3 because we just submitted a new one. However, this is not going to show your project on the map unless we go ahead and verify the project. So if I hide these and then I search the exact address, it won't show that project here, the polygon that we just digitized. It doesn't show unless we verify the site. Every morning we'll have a Python script that runs and that checks if any new projects were submitted, and that's when we go ahead and verify them. But this statistic here is showing that there is a new site that we just submitted. Any question about submitting the project survey? Okay, I forgot to mention, I've noticed that some of the projects has multiple polygons, and this is a limitation for survey 123. If you have, you can't submit multiple polygons for one project. So as a solution for that, if you have 2 separate areas for your project, and this of course happens, what you do is you enter your project name and you go ahead and digitize the area for that project, and then you add a new project, you enter the same name, and you add the second polygon, and we will have a GIS process in the back scene that combine these 2 polygons into one project. And then if there's a third polygon, you can do that too. So this is not just for submitting multiple projects. This is for one project that has multiple polygons too. The most important thing is that we need the project name to be the same. If the polygons are for the same project, because we're going to look at these projects. If there's polygons with the same name, we will combine or dissolve these into one polygon using Python. I'll reload this survey so we can delete everything we added. The second case I mentioned when I started this webinar is that you can submit a new project with the project information, but some of you have these projects already mapped. You have ArcGIS Pro or ArcMap. You have a shapefile that contains all of these polygons for these sites, and you do want to go over, digitizing every site. In this case, we will require you to enter the uh, general information about your name, email address, phone number, and your organization. And then at the same time, we will give you the opportunity to upload a file or document. A file means that this could be any format, Word document, PDF, and the most important when it comes to mapping is a shapefile. You can submit a shapefile into this survey. So as some of you might know, a shapefile is the digital format that stores the location and the shape and the attribute of the map. However, we will ask you if you're submitting a shapefile, we will need that unique identity for each project. So at least if you add an attribute for a project name, that would be helpful if you add a project name to your shapefile. I have a shapefile that's prepared. Please let me know if you can see it. You can see the folder with the shapefiles, with the shapefile files.
We can see it.
Okay. So I've exported a shapefile for
Yep.
Lombard local parks, assuming that Lombard has multiple projects in multiple parks. And then I exported that as a shapefile. As you can see, I located the shapefile, and you probably know that the shapefile is composed of multiple files, and it's all of these files. Now, how are we going to upload this into the map? The way you're doing this is you first need to zip this shapefile into one file. How do you do that? You select all of these files. I press Control and start selecting each one, or I press the first one, press the Shift on the keyboard, and select the last one. I selected all the files that are needed. I right click, and then I do Send to, and then compressed zipped folder. So this is the folder that you can submit to the survey. This is the shapefile, and usually with municipalities and park district, the GIS analyst is a person who should have these files, and they can provide you with these files if your projects are already mapped. We have some cases, members have a bulk of projects that are mapped, so that's why we added this feature to the survey. Now I zip this shapefile. I go back to my survey. Again, you have to submit signatory member, and then this is Lombard. I select Lombard, and then I add my information, and I'm gonna do this just for the sake of time. I only want to upload project documents. Select file. I go back to the Lombard projects. I have this zip folder that I have created. And if you noticed, you can't see the other shapefile files when you open the file. So that's why you have to zip it first. I zip this and click open. Now I have it uploaded. I have everything filled here, and then you click submit. What's going to happen in the back scene is I receive an email that you submitted a shapefile. I'll just append that to the data set that we already have. If we go back to the hub site, we don't see an addition yet because we don't have any added polygons. Once these polygons are added to the map, that's when this number is going to change. And then in this section where it says get involved, I've included, so I included the survey. I also included instructions on how to zip the shapefile and upload to the survey. Here's the instructions. And I also included that we need you to add a unique field for each project. We need a project name just for us to be able to identify the difference between each project. We will need a project name. So I added a link on to the ISRI documentation on how to add a field to the attribute table and calculate it. And this is the instruction on how to you select the files and zip them into the survey. And I'll post my information in the chat. If you are submitting your sites, you're digitizing, you're having problems with the survey because it's your first time, you can always email me and you can always call me. Here's my information. They're posted in the chat. And I'll go back to you, Lonnie.
Thank you, Tamara.
No problem.
That was very informative. I've seen this a couple of times and I learn new things every time I see it. So thank you so much. One thing I would like to share with our members is if you have monarch way stations and they are registered, you do not have to add those to the map. I have all that information in a spreadsheet and it will go up through me. So please don't be concerned about way stations. Although I will say Lombard Park District, when they registered the station, I think they included the entire park. And I would probably want to speak with you about that to make sure that we only capture the area that is providing what monarchs need. So that was good. We have, for keeping this to an hour, we have 5 more minutes. I certainly would like to hear any questions that you might have, concerns, anything we need to know in moving forward.
Feedback.
Yeah, give some feedback. And just like I said, if you are in there and you're, getting ready to form and you're drawing the map, if you need any assistance, just shoot myself or Tamara an email and we can schedule a quick web meeting through Teams and walk you through it.
Thank you. That's really important. That is a great resource to have available to our members. One thing to keep in mind, I have been asking for updates about your habitat projects at the close of each year. And if you enter your habitat projects into this map, I'll be able to see them. If I need more information, then I can reach out to you. But this should reduce the reports that you've been sending to me kind of November, December-ish. So there's that benefit. I probably would still want to know about non-habitat initiatives, and I will make that more clear at the end of the year when I send out my annual request for updates. I would like to talk a little bit about what I am seeing as our next step on this. I don't have I don't have it all mapped out yet, but where I would like to go is to look at the quality of the habitat that's being added. Um, what I have discovered, first of all, this applies to native bees, which are way more complicated to protect and conserve than monarchs. They have more needs and there's much greater diversity. There is between 400 and 500 species of native bees in Illinois, and they don't all have the same needs. I'm thinking to start with bumblebees because there are fewer of them. And the rusty patch is already on the federal endangered list. And several of the other ones are on the species in greatest need of concern, of which is a designation by the state of Illinois. And we are now beginning to have information about the plants that different species of bumblebees use for pollen and nectar sources. I think bees have been sort of thought to, they all visit plants. When they're on a plant, they're all feeding. They can get nectar or pollen depending on what the plant offers. Turns out that's not exactly true. Bumblebees are far pickier than you might have known or suspected. But there is a growing body of research that indicates, like the rusty patch is very fond of shrubby St. John's wort. And I don't know if that is routinely included in the plant lists that park districts and municipalities are using when they're planting areas for other reasons, like stream bank stabilization or the many other reasons that they're installing what looks like habitat. I want to make sure, since we have a limited amount of room for new habitat, that what we're putting in the ground is the best. And so this is what I'll be working on the next probably 2 years, to see if we can pull together that information and update any plant lists that need to be updated. So that's what the next step is. So we will know the best areas for habitat, and we will also know what is the best habitat that we can put in. So any questions that you have for me or for any other of the people working with DuPage Monarch Project? Well, that's good. You can always reach out to me. I'm always available. I am going to be meeting up with some of you this summer. I'm pretty excited about that. So thank you very much for being here today. This was wonderful. I think this is our first sort of large members meeting, and I know you're very busy, but I think this was a good use of my time, and I hope it was a good use of your time. And perhaps in the future we could have another kind of meeting like this. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.